Hi, I'm Otto Ottosson from the Coalition on ParallaxLive, YouTube and Twitch's very best gaming channel.
When we went to this year's EGX, it's fair to say that we couldn't have predicted that Gears of War 4 was going to be our game of the show. That very quickly changed when we sat down and were instantly reminded why it is that the series that wrote the rulebook for the third-person cover shooter genre is still relevant a decade after its debut. The gunplay felt satisfying, the controls were instantly familiar, and we were pleasantly surprised at how impressive the glory kills looked on a PC equipped with an Nvidia 1080 graphics card. After our playtest, we caught up with Otto Ottosson, the Coalition's lead multiplayer producer for Gears of War 4, and found a man who, despite his jet lag, was clearly genuinely passionate about his work on the game. He also had by far the most magnificent beard we saw at the show.
Because obviously Gears of War is the definitive third-person cover shooter. It's the template which virtually every cover shooter has followed since. How have you approached the conundrum, I suppose, of serving the fans of the original but having that new jumping in point?
Sure. I mean, such a great legacy, this title, and getting to work on it has just been an honor. And so, looking at it, like, we sort of felt that the natural progression of the series was the original trilogy, and we felt that gameplay only sort of evolved and got better over time. And so, while I think it was amazing in Gears 1, I think its sort of purest version is in Gears 3. And so that was where we wanted to start from. And so we took that, sort of all the finesse that they had done to get to that point, we took that, and that was sort of a starting point, and then we evolved from there. And it's important, like, as we were building, especially on the multiplayer side, we kind of look at sort of a pyramid of players. And so at the bottom of the pyramid, sort of the largest, is the potential new players coming in. So it's important to us that it's accessible, and that we have modes for them to play, that the weapons are easy to grok, and that the movement, like, it's all, like, you can see what's going on and understand why it's happening, right? And so, yeah, so that big pie there, but then you also have to build it for, obviously, everybody else in that pyramid.
You're referring to the Gears of War 1 to 3's original trilogy. Do you see this as a jumping off point for a new trilogy?
Well, it's definitely a new series, and so, or a new story, and so we'll see where we go, starting with Gears of War 4 at least.
Gears of War 4 is the first Gears of War on the current generation. We played the PC version, which is surprisingly gorgeous, actually. Did you take a different approach graphically? Because I know some of the earlier games were kind of criticised for being a bit too dark and colourless.
Right. Well, it is a new series. It's a sort of new beginning to the franchise, which is why it's such a good starting point. Like I said, like, the original trilogy sort of played its arc fully, and they had this art direction called Destroyed Beauty, and so you'd see, like, everything was war-torn and everything like this. Now, Gears of War 4 happens 25 years in the future, and so the Locust was, hope I'm not spoiling this for you guys, but the Locust was all wiped out at the end of Gears 3, and so the inhabitants, the citizens or whatever on Serra, they've been living in peace for 25 years, right? And so the planet is starting to sort of regain its sort of growth and everything like this. So our new sort of art direction is restored beauty. So as you go through these environments, you can see that there's a lot of that sort of pillars and things like that, this sort of massive environment, but I'll have vines all over it, and you'll see flowers and stuff like that. So there's more color, absolutely.
I mentioned Xbox Scorpio earlier. In terms of the Gears of War series, do you plan to bring a new Gears of War game that will fully take advantage of Scorpio, or do you intend to build upon Gears of War 4 in terms?
So I mean, like, the Coalition is a Gears studio. That's what we do. We work on Gears games and bring whatever is the most suitable experience. We are first party, so we work very closely with Microsoft. We are a Microsoft company, but we haven't really made, like, I've been working on this on Gears 4. It's coming out for Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Windows 10. I haven't really been looking in the future. I'm sure that there's people at the studio that are doing that, but just getting this done has been a lot of work, and so we're just getting to the end of that now, and when I'm done here, I'll go home and rest, and then I'll come back and we'll start looking at what we're doing in the future.
So as a developer of the game, what's your personally favourite aspects of it?
Right. Well, I work on multiplayer, and so that's both versus, like when you're playing against other people, as well as Horde. It's what I've been working on since day one of Gears 4. And so I am also a multiplayer player. That's what I sort of like in games. And specific to Gears of War 4, there's sort of two things that I really like that we've done with this game. One is in Horde. We really like having so much time to work on it. We've been able to deliver a really ambitious version of Horde, and so we wanted to bring back sort of that immersion gameplay that you see in the original Horde. Because in the original Horde, you didn't really have these preset fortifications. You could just you just had to basically go back to back with your buddies and try and survive. The only other thing that you had was the boom shield that you can sort of place it to try and take advantage of how the AI was navigating the map. We really liked the fact that people could play their own experience in the original Horde, but we also liked those fortifications. So what we did is we created this thing called the Fabricator, sort of big metal box, like a military grade 3D printer. And so in that, you can open it up and build fortifications. You can place them wherever you want. So you can drag this thing around, set up wherever you think is the best way to, or best place to defend within a map, and then you can build fortifications from there and set up a base. And we also sort of build classes to support that. And so I think that has created the most sort of co-op experience that we've done with Horde so far. And then on the versus side, one of the things that we wanted to do was, aside from, I talked about earlier, appealing to those new gamers and sort of the social gamers, we wanted to create something really deep and strategic for the more competitive crowd. And so we've created this new game mode called Escalation. We had esports in mind when we were creating it. So we thought about strategy from the player's point of view and depth. We thought about sort of narrative for viewers to sort of partake in as they're watching people play it, and we thought about what kind of talking points do casters have as they're going through it. And so there's a lot that went into building that mode, and we've already announced a big esports program now with a $1 million prize pool for Gears of War 4, and Escalation will be the mode that they'll play. So I can't wait for that to come out.
It sounds really exciting. I mean, it sounds like Gears of War 4 could almost be the Call of Duty moment for the series, in that multiplayer could start becoming not the sole focus, but more of a focus than the single player. Is that something you would want, or would you prefer to keep it a 50-50 campaign multiplayer?
Well, the funny thing is, the way Gears was developed before by Epic was they would focus on campaign. The whole team would work on campaign, and then to prep for demos or right before launch, they would go and work on Versus and work on Horde. And so doing that, they were kind of limited. Just obviously they're all amazing, but they were limited in sort of how ambitious they could make some of them. And so I've been working on MP since day one, and so we've been able to build more into the experience. But people love the big characters of Gears of War. That's always been a huge pull, and that fantasy of fighting that sort of monster under the sort of monster in the closet is something that really appeals to people. So even the guys who love Versus and Horde and Gears will have played the campaign, and I think it's a healthy thing, to be honest.
I think so too. I mean, people, again, this is something I mentioned earlier, people do tend to forget that Gears of War is really the game that set the template for the third-person cover shooter. I mean, even today when you play something like Uncharted 4, it owes a massive debt to Gears of War. Going forward, is that something, do you feel any pressure to think, we've already set a template, we need to do something new, or do you think, no, actually, we've got a really solid foundation, now we're going to build on that?
I mean, that's what we did with this one, is we felt that we had a really solid foundation and we built on it. And even with all the additions, to us, it was just taking advantage of a brilliant base that was already there and building on top of it. So I imagine that we take that path again. The gameplay has been solid for a long time. Like you said, it's a defining experience for third-person cover shooters. We feel that it has a relevance still, and that it plays really well. And the best way that we can build a good experience is to use what's already strong about it. So I
noticed the glory kills were still in there.
Yeah,
I made a special effort to to make my way over to a downed
enemy.
There seems to be, I'm going to call it a mild bit of pushback against more mature games that seem to have come about in the last, say, couple of years. It wasn't really there when the original Gears of War was around. Is that something you were at all conscious of, or is it something, let them do their thing, or do you do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's always been a part of Gears. I mean, like I talked about, it isn't just the characters that are big in Gears. The kills are big in Gears. Like everything is big in Gears, and so I know, right? It's ridiculous, but it works.
It's practical, but
yeah. I think if this was a real war, there'd be a lot of soldiers with no fingers, right?
That's something for Gears of War 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like we love those executions, and our team had a lot of fun doing the new ones because obviously every new weapon has a new execution, and so animators love it, effects guys love it. We'll continue doing that for sure.
So it's releasing in November, is that correct?
October 11th.
11th of October?
Yeah. Unless you pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, then you can get it 4 days early on October 7th.
Right, okay. And is there going to be, are there going to be any more betas before launch?
No, there's just one beta.
Right.
And so the purpose of the beta was to test out our tech, and so our online tech, which we did at the time. We got a lot of feedback from the beta, and that was it. Game's pretty much already done. We announced that it was gold on Monday, and so that's really exciting, and now we're just waiting for it to come out.
Gears of War 1 had a PC version. I believe 2 and 3 did.
They did not. Yeah.
How did you approach the reintroduction of the PC platform to the Gears of War series?
Obviously, it's a big strategy for Microsoft. The Xbox Play Anywhere program that they have going right now, where if you pre-order the game, if you buy a digital copy of the game for either platform, you get it for the other as well. And so it's a serious thing for us. We want, like, Gears is Gears, and it needs to be a really good experience across the board. So we did do Win 10 version for Ultimate Edition, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and so we got a lot of learnings from that as a team. There's a lot, like we got lots and lots of really great feedback when it came out, and things that we could improve upon, and so we took a lot of that to Ultimate Edition, but even more of it to Gears of War 4, and so we've been able to do things like obviously 4K, and we have uncapped frame rate there, like on Windows, and so.
I mean, I'll say it again, it looked gorgeous on the PC. It looks amazing, because some of the earlier footage was a little bit dark, and you couldn't really appreciate actually what a good looking game or what a colourful game it was.
Yeah.
If you could only play one game for the rest of your life, and not one of your own, what would it be and why?
Well, right now I play League of Legends more than anything else. It's just easy to get onto. Like I said, I'm a multiplayer player. I don't really get bored of it. I think every session is different. I mean, that's the beauty of multiplayer, is the repetitive nature of it. No, I am actually. No, I can't say Gears. So, but anyways, yeah. So League of Legends. But I am really excited to get Gears of War. Even though I worked on it, it's one of those games that I know that once I get it at home, I'll continue playing.
Thank you ever so much for your time.
Yeah, no worries.